Are you a C-section mama like me? Did you know that women who have C-sections are 80% more likely to experience complications than women who've given birth vaginally? And those who give birth after the age of 35 with a C-section are 3 times more likely to experience severe complications. That's me. Well, did you know that complications actually from C-sections and other abdominal surgeries can haunt you for years? Boy, do I know about that. What can you do about it? Let's get into it today. Welcome to DETOX Living, where we bring you truths, tips, and testimonials to power your toxic-free living. If you've had a C-section, you know someone who's had an abdominal surgery or a C-section, tag them, invite them. They need to be a part of this conversation, and they definitely need to hear from our guests. Before I share who that is, let me just remind you that I am your host, Coach Gessie. I am a fibroid survivor turned health activist and founder of thedetoxnow.com. We are a holistic health provider of education and supplements to combat the health disparities that lead to chronic disease, obesity, reproductive health issues, and lower life expectancy rates. So our topic for tonight is preventing scar tissue complications after babies and surgery. And, you know, I'm really excited about our guest tonight. Here to help me with this issue, get really into it, is super mom. I mean, super with the capital S mom. Karen Derrico, all right, she's had 3 C-sections, had 6 births, and 14 babies. So 6 pregnancies, excuse me, and 14 babies. You heard me. I said 14 babies. All right. She is the star of TLC's Doubling Down with the Derricos, and of course, the matriarch of the beautiful Derrico family. So first of all, thank you, because your family is not feeling well today.
No, we're not. Our last stop on our way home from New York City was in Colorado, a small city there. And we ate breakfast there, and on our way home, our little Dior wasn't feeling his best. And then it was like, it's now just trickled into everyone. Everyone is just feeling kind of like sick stomach, energy zapped. And we could also be car lagged. I don't even know if that's a thing, girl.
I mean, there is such a thing, but girl, when one gets sick and not feel well, it's like a slippery slope. So I don't want to keep you long, but I'm really grateful for this opportunity. You know, shout out to Earth App, our dear friend Kimberly Seals Allers, who connected us, you know, on our conversation about Black maternal health and that Family Fun Day. You know, but I wanted to, you know, let's get right into it and just share your story. And how did you become the Derricos?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I don't even have enough time to go down the memory lane with everyone. But for those who have not watched or heard of Doubling Down with the Derricos, we come on Tuesdays at TLC. We're in our 4th season. It follows my husband Derrico and I journey raising our 14 children. So we have our oldest is 17, which is why we were in New York, because she's attending NYU for a summer program. She plans to enroll next fall. And then we have all the way down to we have our son, who is now 13, then our twins, who's 11, our quintuplets, who are 9, our first set of triplets, we call triplins because our little Carter passed away. They are 6, and then our last set of triplets, they are 4. So it follows our busy life, and that's how we became. After I gave birth to my quintuplets, we were approached, and so, you know, about 3 or 4 years later, after that, we decided, okay, we'll do this. So we wanted to just share our journey as to how we raise our 14 children.
Amazing. And let me just tell y'all, I got to see them up close and personal, and not only are they beautiful, not only do you have a beautiful family, but your children care about one another. They look after one another.
Thank you.
You know, they look after, they hold each other's hands. They, you know, they, each one has one.
Yeah.
And they're very, you know, I hate when people say your kids are so well behaved. They're just good kids. You know what I mean? Like, they're
I
good kids.
love it. Thank you.
No,
Thank you.
sometimes one child will tear stuff up. You know, you'd be like,
oh, I know. Yes, I know. Trust me. Trust me. But no, they really are. And it takes both Derrico and I together to be on the same page, to have the conversations and to, you know, let them know what's, you know, this is what it is. And you cannot break the bond mommy and poppy have, you know, with you. So it's one of those things where it's like we in this together on the same
we
page.
all in this together.
Yeah.
So, you know, one of the reasons women fall victim to many health issues is because they always put others before themselves. So how do you take time to take care of yourself while parenting 14 children?
Well, one, I have a very strict schedule with myself. I really try to. Last night I broke my schedule. I went to bed at 1:30 a.m.
That's
spending quality time.
Not like you.
Not like me. Spend some quality time with my husband, which was much needed. And it's like I try my best to be in bed at a certain time. I really try my best to just be laying my body down by 9 p.m., having the house and stuff already set up and structured where my children aren't running around. And it just gives me and Derrico time. If I'm in the bed and he comes up and want to talk or whatever, but I try to be down in the bed, number one. Of course, I don't drink or smoke. I don't do any of that. And I love going out walking. I don't get to do it as much because I'm constantly walking around in this house.
Well, you walk.
Yeah,
girl.
I am walking. I'm getting them steps in.
Hold on.
They did a.
Hold on. We got a shout out to the pop. Shout out, Dion. I see you in the comments, brother. She giving you love, brother. She giving you love. Watch Doubling Down with the Derricos Tuesdays on TLC. Yes. And you can stream it on Discovery Plus. All right. Okay. So go ahead. So you were saying.
Yeah, just trying to, you know, I want to get into more Pilates. I had signed up, but my main thing is getting into bed. I think when I write everything out, I have my journal, I have my to-do list. I think that when I sit and put my top priorities in and, you know, things I need to delegate, and I'm still learning because anyone who knows me knows delegating is not something, it's not easy for me. Derrico all day, he delegates. But for me, it's just a matter of, you know, having that, making sure that the right person is doing it, bringing those people into my life, my personal space around my children. That is definitely a lot for me. And so doing those things, and of course there's things that happen in the interim of if I don't get enough sleep, if I'm not resting. I think I've shared with a lot of people out there, you always see me like with an ice cup. I'm anemic. I've always been anemic. Always been anemic. And for me, it's something like normal. No. That's how I look at it. I didn't know. I didn't know that it wasn't normal. I thought because my size, you know, I'm small, but I've never had someone say to me, no, it's not normal for you.
Wait a minute. Stop. I just need to make sure I hear what you have had 14 children. That means you've had a lot of doctor visits and no one's told you it's not normal to be anemic?
What I was told when a doctor says to me during my pregnancies that I'm anemic, they'll say, oh, your iron's low. I'm going to give you these tablets and you need to take them.
That's it.
Well,
you know, pregnancy is one thing. You do need other support because during pregnancy, the baby drawing the babies, drawing all of that from you. Yes, that can cause anemia. However, you say you've been anemic all your life, you know, that right there is a lot. And that speaks to hormonal imbalance and inflammation. And so I was just going to ask you, the next question was, you know, I shared this video last week, I think it was, with my daughter about her first period and, you know, saying how we should celebrate this experience, how, you know, what our menstrual cycle should be something that we're celebrating, we're creating a positive narrative around and no shame around it so that we feel more welcome to talk about it, so that we can find out what the early warning signs are when things are not right? How many girls do you have?
6. I have 6 girls.
6 girls. I love it. So having 6 girls, you know, what, and your own experience, I guess when I think about it, I'm like, what was your menstrual cycle like growing up? And then what has your communication been like for your girls and boys?
Girl, my periods are the worst. And it's funny that we talked about like periods and stuff because my doctor told me that, you know, after a pregnancy, they should lighten up. My periods are the worst. They're 5 days. I am in excruciating pain the first 2 days. It is heavy the first 2 days. Talking about going through, I am a tampon person. I hate pads, and because I have the worst periods, I don't want to feel it. I'm trying to think of everything to not remind me that it's on. So I could go through an ultra tampon and have to have on a pad my first like 2 days. Cramps are horrible. My appetite is gone. I feel queasy. There's times I feel like I want to pass out.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
girl.
it's horrible.
Well, you know,
horrible.
You know, first of all, that ain't normal. None of that's normal. Number one.
But
and
not to cut you off, but here's what this is the part that I want you to explain. I know what you're saying is not normal, right? But other women, this is the part I'm not understanding. Other women who have the exact same thing, I find that they have endometriosis. So I freaked out and thought that I had it. And then my doctor says to me, no, you don't. You've got X amount of children. So
yeah, but that doesn't mean you can't have endometriosis, but still, keep going.
So why in the world? I mean, I know I'm blessed. I'm not saying it like I want everyone to hear me.
Yes.
Like that. I know that I'm blessed, but is this an exceptional blessing that I have to go through all of those symptoms and still be blessed with my children? Because I've never heard of women having it this bad. And my labor, I can pop a baby out apparently, just like this. My labor pains.
Oh, praise God for that part.
Praise the Lord for that.
Praise God
my labor pains
for that.
Yes. My labor pains is nothing.
But you know what? You shouldn't be living like, so, okay, so let's go back. One of the key things, you don't have to have fibroids. You don't have to have, and this is why I said we have to normalize conversations about menstrual cycles so we can talk about what's really happening, right? Because if I'm ashamed, I'm not going to tell you I'm going through a pad, ultra pad, and this. I'm going to act like, you know, I'm going to try to hide it. And here's the deal. I'm sure they checked you for fibroids and they checked you for endometriosis, right? Because you had said that they checked you. Guess what?
Never for endometriosis.
Did they check you for fibroids?
How do you check? Do ultrasound?
Same way.
Take a look.
Ultrasound. Yes, they would have told you. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's the deal. You don't. The heavy bleeding can actually be just from hormonal imbalance. And it sounds like that, which can be triggered by stress or just a very, 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 very busy, fast-paced life. And it can also be triggered by environmental toxins. Yes, you qualify for that. It can be triggered by environmental toxins, which include, there are so many studies that show how 76% of the products that are marketed to Black women that are for our beauty, our hair, our toiletries, our underwear, our deodorant, and house cleaning products, all of those things, the plastics we use, all of that can actually be leading to reproductive damage, hormonal disruption, which is what we're talking about with you, as well as inflammation. Okay, so here, think about that. So even starting on, if your cycles were heavy beginning on as a little girl, that could have been your diet. It could have been a stressful environment growing up. Okay, and the stress didn't have to be tragedy. The stress could just be a lot going on that you had to handle. Okay.
Yeah.
And some people, because of their genetic makeup, they may have the gene. It's called the COMT1 gene, which is a variation in your gene that makes you more sensitive to things like estrogen, that make you more reactive to it, and other people less reactive to it. Okay. Gotcha. So it sounds like what you have is hormonal imbalance. Thank God. Now that hormonal imbalance can lead to fibroids. It can lead to endometriosis. That's why we want people to be very open about talking about their periods, because if you have a heavy cycle, let's stop it there. So number one, you see this right here, girl? this golden balance, I got to get this to you. That's number one. This is the period reliever. Okay. This is my period reliever. This right here helps to, with the heavy bleeding, helps to reverse heavy bleeding. It helps your body because it balances your hormones. It regulates estrogen dominance so that your body now, especially in an environment where you have the stressors and everything, that it will help to regulate your hormonal balance. And we have had people who had crazy periods and now have what we call the happy period, which is what we want you to have, girl. If you're gonna have a happy life, you need to have a happy period. Okay?
Happy life, happy period. Happy period, happy life.
Happy life. And my girls, they need to have a happy period too, because we got to switch it up for them, right? We got to make sure your daughter, we're setting it up for them to have a happy period. Because one of the things with my daughter, right away, I equipped her with, I know she has a fast-paced life. She's an actress, always doing auditions, a lot going on. I make sure she's taking her balance supplements. And then the other thing, I was going to ask you about that, is the inflammation. Like, I don't go nowhere without this. This is mass. This attacks inflammation. And when I say inflammation, things like stress, these toxins I talk about, they cause your body, when you're under a lot of stress, which is just a lot of pressure. You don't have to have tragedy going on in your life, but you have had a lot of stress. Just the number of pregnancies, just what you've gone through, what your body has gone through, Karen. You understand what I'm saying? That causes your body to pump this hormone called cortisol, which is good. Cortisol is a good hormone. It helps keeps you on task. It helps you be a person who plans your day. You know what I'm saying? Who gets things done. But also, it's the same hormone that makes you kind of be a control freak sometimes. It's the same hormone that keeps you high paced all the time, right? Right. And that hormone has to be regulated to help your body actually make sure that it's not negatively impacting your body, right? And then the other thing is vitamin D3, which helps your body regulate your stress hormone, as well as the inflammation and any of the tumors that could come up because of it. So for me, I look at you and I'm like, you can't be all this beautiness and everything that you're doing for your family, and you having a crazy cycle. Girl, I'm getting you a kit like tomorrow. It's going out in the mail tomorrow. You getting this tomorrow. You're getting our prevention kit. Tomorrow is getting out. See, my next question for you was, how do you have energy if you're always anemic? Because that can, the anemia itself, do you know that could lead to heart failure? You can't play with that. Your family needs you.
That's right. It definitely. I mean, I take my iron. I do take the iron supplements. They can be harsh because they really constipate you and stuff. But I balance out my iron, and I try to eat things naturally that may be infused to help with iron. I try to do that. But the main thing that I've learned overall is, if I'm tired, I'm tired. And I had to get past that guilt trip of, I'm laying in bed and there's so much I need to do. It's like,
that's
nope, I'm laying in bed.
That actually is saving you. Let me tell you something. That's saving you, because sleep is where your body rests and rejuvenates and heals. People don't realize that's why babies sleep so much, because they're growing. Growing is rejuvenating and growing tissue. Well, when you are going to sleep, that is where your body shuts down to repair, to heal, right? And that's what's keeping you. And, iron should not constipate you. So I'll definitely get you the iron supplement as well, because it should be gentle on your digestive system. But going back, somebody said that she's slim. She doesn't have a cortisol problem. Weight has nothing to do with you having inflammation, because small as I am, I had major inflammation issues because of everything, trauma growing up for me. That's how I developed fibroids, because of trauma, as well as my diet. I was real small, but I had a very toxic diet, right? And then, of course, I had relaxers since I was 7 years old, going into my, into my pores. There's a lot of things. So, but anyway, so we'll definitely take care of that. So the next question was, what was there ever a point of concern with your reproductive health, and what impact that had on your body through the journey, like where actually you were in danger?
I've never been in danger. I hyper ovulate, ovulate, as you can tell, and you know, I was always
natural multiples. These were all natural.
yeah,
These were no
natural.
IVF.
This is natural. This is spontaneous, natural. So
Wow.
I there's never been a concern about my health on that level because that's the grace of God. And I've never, in all of my pregnancies, I've only had morning sickness. And I've had to have a cerclage because my cervix was shortened, and they do a cerclage on it. But and I'm on bed rest.
Because of the multiples?
No, that was just with baby number 2. You know, with Darren, they didn't do a cerclage. I just stayed in the hospital. And then with Derek, it was a different doctor, and he just was like, "I'm gonna be on top of this," and I'm just
he was proactive.
Yeah, right.
He was proactive. That's good.
So, yeah. So that's just been it. But I just have learned me, and really and truly, no means no. I'm done. And I've learned that I don't take on anything else that I can't do. You know, if I can't do it, I always give myself a grace period. And after that grace period, if I find I can't do it, then I chill. I know, and I learn what to delegate. So when it comes to my health, and then one of the other things is I'm a natural, like when I eat things, I'm a natural picky eater anyway. I can always do without meat. It's not a must-have for me. And I love nuts. I love berries. I love fruit. My morning starts off with a smoothie. Those are things that's naturally me. I don't do cakes and pies. And, I don't do a lot of those things. So, you know, one may say, oh, that's why you're so small. But it's hard for me to eat in my pregnancies. So those are natural factors toward me. And when you mentioned a thing about environment and stress, I remember when I was a flight attendant, you know, for 9 years and being jet lagged, you know, going from Detroit to Paris.
That's a lot on your body.
Right. And
that's
the next
a lot on your body.
I'm going to Rome. And the next week, 2 weeks, I'm always international. And then the very next week, I may just be in Ohio. But it's just the up and down, the constant, the all of that. It was so rigorous. And I remember with my first miscarriage, I remember the doctor asking me when was my last period. And I was so embarrassed because I didn't know my schedule. I was like, oh, hold on. I was in Rome. Or, hold on. I was in Pittsburgh. And and from that moment, I learned in order to have the doctor help me, I have to know my body. I have to know it. The length of my periods, how my periods are going, and all of that. So that taught me. So now when I am going through my periods and talking to my doctors, even when I talk to my children and I'm explaining things to them, know your body.
That's
your doctor can't help
girl.
You.
Preach.
You got to know it. And that feeling I had from that very first loss to this day, I write it. I get an app. I keep a journal. I write. I notate how my periods are. I'm 43 years old, and so it's so important. So when you have those conversations with your doctors, you can say 3 months this happened. Yeah, and it helps them. So know your body, women.
Girl, preach that. I love that. Again, a thing that's really important, especially for us, as we are talking about our cycles, the period is the 5th vital sign. Okay, that means you know how you go to the doctor, they take your temperature, right? Yep. They take your blood pressure, right? They check your oxygen levels, right? Right? They do all those things. Those are all vital signs, right? Well, the 5th vital sign is the period, because the period is telling you, are you bleeding heavy? How many days? What are you feeling? All of those are indicators that your body's dealing with disruption. Your cycle should be easy. It should be 3 to 5 days tops. And the bleeding, medically, according to the National Institute of Health, should be no more than 2 to 3 tablespoons. When it gets to 5 to 6 tablespoons, you are having heavy bleeding. All right. And here's the deal, especially I deal with because I speak to Black women all the time who come and are coming to us at the Detox Now, asking for help with their cycles, helping them to regulate their hormones so they can, you know, eliminate fibroids, have babies, you know, reverse high blood pressure, whatever it may be. The biggest thing is they say, well, their doctor just told them, I just bleed heavy. No, let's say that's not normal. And if that's what your doctor's telling you, you need to find a new doctor, because that doctor is not giving you the right information. You don't just bleed heavy. That means something's wrong. Don't ignore it. Don't ignore it because your body is telling you something. That's what Karen's saying. Don't ignore your body. And that boundaries thing you talked about, Karen, that is golden. All right. That is golden. I have no apology. If I have to say no to something, it may make you feel sad, but it doesn't make me bad. All right. Saying no, it may make you sad. You may not like that fact that I said no, but it doesn't make me a bad person because I do that. It means I am doing the thing that is needed to fuel my health, to fuel taking care of myself. And I respect and I love that. That's something that helps you to manage everything you're dealing with, right?
Girl,
so
I got enough energy for my 14 children, my husband, my mother, my mother-in-law, and I cap it off at that. Like it starts with that. And I had to learn that over time because, you know, sometimes you become a people pleaser and you just don't want nobody to feel a certain way. And it's like, literally, it's like, girl, bye, or boy, bye. This is what, this is how I'm feeling. And this is what it's going to be. And I am so grateful for my supportive husband and my family that just, hey, if mommy is not having a good day or she just want to lay in the bed, there's no pressure. There isn't any pressure about it. So find you and find everybody.
You're getting the love there again, Dion, because if no excuse, nope, that's all right. Nope, leave her alone. That's it. That's how you're going to do it.
Yes, absolutely.
You brought up, so we were talking about, I talked about scar tissue at the top, and I talked about how, you know, the world has normalized C-sections, and it's very necessary. I mean, I had a C-section in certain scenarios, right? But like, it's a simple surgery when in fact, it's actually a real major abdominal surgery, right?
It is.
So, you know, what are you doing to prevent long-term complications that can arise from the C-sections that you've had?
The only thing that I did, I mean, I felt it was great. I had two nurses. One was Caucasian, one was African American on two of my C-sections, and I learned with the third. But they did just the belly wrap. You know, they wrapped my stomach so tight, and they were like, you know, they did that, and they were like, it's holding it in place, and it helps your body, helps your uterus contract, and that. From what I talked to other women, that they were like, no, I didn't get that. Now that's probably why you got a flat stomach now. And that's probably, I don't know to this day what, but all I'm saying is I had people that wrapped my stomach. That's on the outside, of course.
Right.
On the inside, I don't know what's going on. I had an ultrasound. I see the scar tissue there. And again, it's really by the grace of God, because I didn't have that education that, hey, you got scar tissue. Something can probably develop at a later time. So, I mean, for the outsides, I don't want just my outsides looking good.
Girl.
I want my so.
Well, let me tell you something. Number one, so just to make sure everybody knows what I'm talking about. So I had a myomectomy, which is an abdominal surgery. A C-section is an abdominal surgery. It's basically the surgery you get when you're having a C-section. The first one, after I had my first one, it was a bikini cut, which I know you had a bikini cut. Did you? You had a bikini cut? Right. So after the first one, you know, the doctor said everything was fine. Externally, I heal really well. Like, you wouldn't even see. I have a scar right here from the brain aneurysm, and you barely can see the scar, right? I have scars that they're like, wow, you heal. I have a scar right here from a parathyroidectomy, and you barely see it because outside the scars heal well. But inside, sisters, is where I'm talking. When I say scar tissue, what happens is when you are cut for any surgery, your body has to form scar tissue to actually heal. It's part of the recovery process. It's a normal part of the recovery process. But in some instances where you have a very high-paced, stressful life, maybe a diet that isn't as healthy as possible, environmental toxins, these are all things that can cause the scar tissue to overgrow. All right. Like during the pandemic, a lot of people had these kind of issues where the scar tissue just overgrew because it was so much stress they were going through. And the reason I really want to harp on this is because most women, when I talk to about, they have no idea what I'm talking about. They're like, oh yeah, my scar looks good. I say, no, scar tissue inside. What are you doing to prevent? Well, 10 days after my second myomectomy, they had to cut me back open because the scar tissue knotted around, it wrapped around my small intestine, caused a knot where I couldn't even digest my own body fluids.
Wow.
That's how bad it was, Karen.
Wow.
I couldn't, like, they had to put a tube down my nose to keep me from digesting anything. Okay. And then they had to go back in and cut 18 inches out of my small intestines.
Wow.
And they kept cutting more and more and more every time the fibroids came back. And I say to people, I have a chronic gut issue that I have to manage every day right now, because you're born with 20 to 25 feet of small intestine. After all the fibroid surgeries, the complications from them, I have less than 3 feet left. Less than 3 feet. 17 plus feet taken out. Okay.
Wow.
So understand, I say to people, I need you to be educated, because most people are not telling you about this. This is why for us, we're like, okay, what will you do? You got to be proactive. Like, in fact, the prevention kit I'm going to be sending you, that's why we created this prevention kit. I'm sending you this prevention kit specifically. It has the D3, which I told you about, MAS, which I told you about, which is the inflammation supplement, and then balance for hormonal balance. Those 3 things are going to help your body to literally help, number one, keep the scar tissue from overgrowing, okay, because of the hormonal balance, as well as the inflammation attacker, which helps to keep the tissue in check, to keep it from overgrowing. And when I tell you, sis, oh my God, I wish I would have known these things. I literally, the complications I deal with, I want nobody to have to ever deal with. And that is why we're making sure people know, okay, this can happen years down the road. My godmother, 5 years after she had a C-section, she had to have emergency surgery because the scar tissue wrapped around her stomach. Okay. I had a client who 3 years after her C-section, or 2 years after her C-section, she had to have an emergency surgery because it wrapped around her appendix. This is nothing to play with.
Right.
And we don't know usually until there's some sort of crisis.
Right. Right. So I definitely am glad that you're talking about it, because I mean, it's by the grace of God, me and other women haven't dealt with it, as of right now. And it's good to know about it. So I'm extremely excited that you're sending me the kit so I can start working on that.
Girl.
And, so when I have baby number 16.
Yes, I was going to ask about that. So they're I hear that, and somebody asked in the chat that we're going to be praying for baby number. Now, it ain't going to be no 16 with you. It's going to be 16. It's going to be like 18 something.
Girl, hey, me and Derrico, we receive it. All we always prayed for was as many children, as many healthy children as God bless us to have.
Yeah.
And we've been blessed with 14. And if God says that's it, then that's it. Yeah. But we are loving it. We have so much Derrico love. We just like whatever God has for us. And I want every woman out there to hear me. You want to have another baby, you go for it. And it's to each their own. So when people say, why are you having another baby and why this, don't project your fears onto me, because my body is good. Yeah, I have heavy periods, but that hadn't stopped me before. I just deal with it. And now with the help of you,
get that in check.
It look like they're going to be going away. So now I ain't even going to have no heavy periods anymore. I'm going to be balanced, okay?
That's right.
So,
that's right.
Okay. I really appreciate it. I'm so glad that you were able to educate so many people, and myself for sure, on it. I'll be looking forward to receiving the kit, letting everybody know how it works. And we're going to just get through this. And I want all the women out there to just know your body, learn it, get those period menstrual cramp apps, get those things on your phone, talk about it, teach your children about it. I stay on, thank God, right now it's just Darian, but my girls, they're 9.
They're right.
So they're in that.
Yeah.
They're in
Nita
that.
got hers when she was 10. So they're right there. We started reading a puberty book when she was 9. And I'll send you the link to it because it was phenomenal. It was
great.
Phenomenal. Great, education. It was great. And you know what? I love that you said, let nobody's judgment in terms of what your vision is for your family. Let me tell y'all something. I was around this family and the love they have for their children. And it is so beautiful. Like it is, you be like, you sitting there like, oh, this is so amazing. and Dion be sitting there like, brother, he's like this. He's sitting there like, he's looking at all the kids. I'm talking to him. I'm talking to Karen. They know exactly what their kids are doing at all times. Every one of them. They're looking at him. I know such. And the thing about them is the way, like, people have a gift and they have a joy in parenting. Mm-hmm. And I can see you have the gift and a joy in parenting. And I proclaim, I'm excited about how each and every one of your babies is going to change the world. I'm excited about that.
I receive it. And I know, Derrico, if you're watching, baby, you receive it. And we thank you for that. And, we're just so grateful, with Kim and Earth App having a barbecue, and we're there. We met you. So I pray daily for God to bless me with the right connections, the right people, the right, I don't want no day to go in vain.
Yeah.
If I want to meet the right people, and I pray for that. So I just thank God for meeting you. And
my God, I feel the same way. The last thing, I don't want to go without honoring, and you have been blessed. You have been blessed, but you've also experienced loss, and I didn't want to go without honoring Carter, who is a part of the Derrico family.
Yes.
I have a little baby in heaven, and what do you say to moms who are in waiting and they're still trying, they're going through
my God. It's not easy. I still tear up. I've been on the side where I didn't think I could have any. And then I was on the side where it's like, okay, I only have one. And then I had 2 more losses. So the one thing I can tell you is don't give up. I don't want you to have regrets. And that's something that I have truly, truly learned, is that you cannot have regrets. And I used to sit and think, why not me? Why not me, Derrico? Why you and I can't have a baby?
Wow.
But it really is in God's timing. And you change doctors if you have to. You read on things. You find out. You don't. People would say, "Oh, just pray about it." And I believe in prayer. Don't get me wrong. But I also want people to know, don't just rely on, I'm gonna pray about it. A baby's just gonna happen. Go to the doctors. Get an exam.
Yes.
1 or 2 or 3 different doctors.
Yes.
Find out. Really go out there. There's all these Facebook groups. I didn't have that. Everybody in my family, they were having babies when, I'm not trying to be funny, they weren't even trying. I always joke and say, they get pregnant in the back of a 55 Chevy. They can just whatever. But me, it was just this struggle, and you feel like you're alone. And then you're around people that just pop babies out who don't understand what you're going through. And so they say stupid stuff. They say things that's just like, really? So I just, even after we lost our Carter, God wasn't done with me yet. You see, we had another set. And I just want you all to know that I am rooting for you all out there who are trying. Even if you, like me, and got 14 children, want to have another. That's right. I think you just cannot give up on it. You cannot. I say that because you just I don't want to live a life of regrets. I don't want to regret that I never tried or pushed or seek another opinion or anything. You try. You find a group that's going to support you. You find the friends that's going to support you. Find a doctor that's going to support you. But you do not just stop at somebody telling you what's not available for you, or that you shouldn't do this, or girl, you need to give it up. I ain't trying to be funny, you find a new partner. Girl. You find a new friend. You find whatever it is. If this is still in you and nagging at you and you wanting it, go for it. Go for it. And you don't stop. You don't stop.
That's it.
It's in you for a reason.
That's it. So, you preached a sermon right there. And, I want to add to that don't put God in a box, because sometimes our gift may come a different way than we expected.
Absolutely.
Okay. I'll share something very personal. We battled infertility for 10 years because of fibroids. My journey, I found out I had infertility issues because it was the fibroids that were doing it, right? We did 5 IVF cycles. And I always look back now, and you know, IVF was not how I thought I was going to have a baby. I was 30 years old when we started. I didn't have Nia until I was 40. And you never know what blessing is in the different way. And I say this because maybe it's IVF, maybe it's adoption, maybe it's surrogacy, maybe it's a donor egg. I just want you to think there could be a different way.
Absolutely.
All right. Maybe it's freezing your eggs or getting a donor. All I want you to know is to be open, because I'm going to tell you, the thing that is going to be most important to you is not the pregnancy. It's the child.
It is.
Okay? It is the child. When I look back, do you sit there and like linger on the pregnancy, or do you marvel at the child?
Yeah.
Right?
And all those people that's telling you what's not right and what may not be a route for you and why you're doing this, you look at who's telling you and giving you advice. Woo! Look at the people that's giving you advice. If it's your mama didn't have to probably go through IVF.
You don't know nothing about
y'all and thought nothing of it. So of course she's going to be biased against it. It may be the best friend. You got to know just because that person have a title, significant title in your life, doesn't mean they're right. And I want you all to remember that. Remember that, because Lord knows I have had to tell a few. Yeah, I've had to tell a few. I don't know why God blessed me to have 4 sets of multiples and 2 single births. I don't know, but guess what? I don't have time asking him, because I'm busy praising him all day over my baby. So I don't have time to question.
That's it, girl.
I'm busy thinking him. So you need to stop letting people dictate and judge you for what you want to do and how you're going to do that. You know, God never tells us. He gives you the blessing. Yeah, he tells you this is what's going to happen. You let me worry about how you're going to get there.
Girl, the other day you preach, girl. So I was telling my girlfriend, I said, I was saying I never knew IVF was going to be the way, right? And many people don't know, but I have been diagnosed with a genetic kidney disease and it's from my father's side of the family. But do you know, look how amazing God is, that because I had to do IVF, they do the genetic testing in IVF called pre-implantation genetic detection. And because of that, my baby never has to worry about having polycystic kidney disease that has literally devastated so many lives in my family. My baby never has to worry about that. Never has to worry. It is wiped out of my family line because we did IVF. So you never know the reason, the blessing, that it's different for you. Okay. Yeah. I wouldn't have chosen it, but I wouldn't change it for a thing.
Absolutely.
I know.
Still love your baby. Still love your baby. Like, and so people just got to remember that. They really and truly do. They do. So I thank you all. Thank you.
Period. And on that, period.
Absolutely. Girl.
Period.
Yes.
We love you. Thank you. Definitely we'll have more conversations, but thank you so much. Go take care of yourself. Go get some rest and the family. And I'll be getting that kid out to you tomorrow. Mwah.
Thank you, girl. Love you all. Take care.
Bye-bye. Love you, Dion. Take care of it. Take care of this queen.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us. Listen, if you are dealing with fibroids or infertility or any health issue, and you're looking for support, any other health concern, we are here for you. You are not alone. Do you hear me? You're not alone. You're not alone. Please head over to thedetoxnow.com. I saw somebody put it in the comments, but this is going to be posted, this replay. Go to thedetoxnow.com. Take our quiz. Through our quiz, our 3-minute quiz, you can learn how we can support your health. As well as we have free group consultations, free consultation options where our team will help you look through your case and support you and help you develop a plan for your healing. We love you, and we are literally all about your healing. Follow me as we'll be continuing this journey. We are grateful, and I want to make sure that you know that your birthright is a life of abundance. Okay? Bye-bye.